Welcome to Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church. Our service today is called Willing to Feel. Good morning. I am the Reverend Dr. Suzanne Intriligator. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am proud to be the minister of this congregation. We are a stalwart band of free thinkers, compassionate doers, and joyful celebrators of life. Visitors are always welcome among us. Feel free to say hello using our chat box. Hosting that area today is our friend Adrienne Wood. She's already dropped a link in there now. If you follow that, you'll go to the welcome page on our website and you can learn more about us and sign in our digital guest book so we can connect you and send you the newsletter if you'd like to get it. Please also feel free to stay afterward for our online coffee hour when we break into small groups to check in and get to know one another better. Big things are happening at our church. As you may know, in accordance with our UU principles, we recently voted to give our entire PPP loan amount to the Bread of Life feeding program in Malden, and that's really exciting. And now, this spring, Alistair and our anti-racism team are cooking up a special set of online public programs. And I think that they will help us grow both in numbers and toward our mission. So that's really exciting too. Next month, we'll be talking a lot about our mission and our future because it's Pledge Drive month. Yes, next Sunday is Giving Sunday when we kick it all off. We're planning a really special worship service for you then, different from anything we've ever done before. So please be sure to join us then. To help us get ready for the Pledge Drive, we're having a finance forum today. After coffee hour at noon, we will stay here in this worship link, and then our treasurer, Jill Libby, and our finance chair, Kathy Sang, will update us on how we're doing with this year's budget. Then they will present to us a first draft of next year's budget. As you know, those numbers support our goals for this year's Pledge Drive, so you'll be hearing more about that in the next couple of weeks. Stay tuned. Finally, last night, many of us gathered online for our annual church auction, and what a ball we had. What a great event that was. Huge thanks go out to all the organizers and their support team. Now, last night I asked Ann and Doug, the organizers, if they wanted to come and make an announcement here this morning. They said yes, but I haven't heard from them this morning. Ann and Doug, are you with us?
Yes, we're here.
Good. Would you like to
tell us? Our time machine got us back to 2021.
Fabulous. Great to see you in your normal appearance as opposed to last night. Right. Anyway, how did we do?
Well, it was great. I'm going to let Ann share the good news. I'm going to do a quick thank you, though, first. There were so many people that helped make the auction a success. We want to thank all of them. But Ann and I would really like to recognize by name the auction committee, who spent many hours organizing this, all of the auction events, and made the actual everything happen virtually, which is no feat, as you know, Reverend Suzanne. So thank you to the auction team, Cleo and Steve Darcy, Alex Leach, Marie McQuaid, Paul Rutz, and Kathy Sang. And a big thank you to our mystery auctioneers, Beth and Tug Yergrau, who did a wonderful performance and made the evening really fun and successful. So, Ann, hear it.
It was fun, wasn't it? The whole thing, we had to pivot to remote. And I mean, there are some ways in which I think it was really extra fun. So, but you want to know the bottom line. So here we are. I'll let you do the math, but spoiler alert, I'll tell you the bottom line at the end. So from donations and ticket sales, we earned $1,370. The online auction yielded $47.01. I don't know who that 01 was. And the live auction last night yielded $87.60. So grand total, $14,831. That's our preliminary count. Could change, but yeah, a fabulous time and a great. I think that, as Doug said, many people helped, and when we were working together on something that was bigger than each of us individually, it was light work. So Thank you, everybody who
Thanks.
participated.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody. And I want to do the crazy thing where just for a second, we all unmute and let's hear a big cheer for the auction team because they really deserve it. Hooray. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. What a great night it was. I had a great time too. Today, this morning, we have a special guest in our virtual pulpit. The Reverend Jennifer Rue was born in South Korea and grew up in Toledo, Ohio. She was ordained in 2006 and served a congregation in Virginia for 10 years before she went into hospital chaplaincy. Today, she works with cancer patients in South Carolina. So she does indeed know a lot about how to manage difficult feelings, which is the topic she chose to build the worship service around today. Welcome to our congregation, Reverend Jennifer. In addition to her, yes, there's lots of other folks here this morning, and now is the moment in our service where we like to switch to gallery view and scroll through the windows and say hi to everybody. So if you'd go ahead and do that now. Hi, everybody. Give a wave, give a virtual hug, and say hello. It's great to see you all. I used to think that not many people would show up to worship the day after the auction because we had such a fun party last night, but no, you're all here. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming. And the baby too, I see a baby. Wonderful. Great. And now Reverend Jennifer is going to lead us in our call to worship.
Good morning, everyone. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are, whatever you're doing while you're listening to this broadcast, you belong here. And I'm so happy to see all of you here today. Reverend Suzanne, I've had so much fun creating this service with you. And I just want to thank you for your hospitality and your friendship and for your team and all the hard work that they've done. Today is, of course, the last day of the month, and we're inching closer to spring. But before we tumble too quickly into the next moment, it is a good spiritual practice to stop, look back, and ask, how well did I show up for my life this month? First, celebrate your accomplishments, pat yourself on the back, give yourself a good cheer for all the things that you did well. Feel the sense of pride, feel triumphant, feel pleased, delighted, surprised. And then look back honestly and compassionately at the places where you might have missed your mark. Be kind. Feel whatever comes up. Remorse, sad, frustrated, disappointed. And then take a deep breath, make new promises, and begin again with hope and love and care. Come, let us welcome all those human feelings. Come, let us worship together.
Thank you. Along with UUs everywhere, I now light the symbol of our faith, the flaming chalice here in our sanctuary. And this morning, another Jennifer, our church member, Jennifer Fanning, will give our chalice lighting reading. Jennifer, are you there?
I am here.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is Why We're Here by Eric Walker Wickstrom. Here today in this place and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light our way.
Great job, Jennifer. Thank you. And now to introduce our opening hymn is our music director, Tara Tresner-Kirsch. Go ahead, Tara.
Our opening hymn this morning is When I Am Frightened, and it's sung by the Unitarian Universalist Church of Baltimore. Please join me in singing along with them.
Now let us join together in the words of our covenant, followed by the song of aspiration. Love is the doctrine of this church, and the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. This is our great covenant, one with another and with our God. Thank you. And now it's time for our story. Gather around your devices. Reverend Jennifer has made a story video about feeling our feelings.
My Inside Weather by Jen Thorpe, Laura Berg, and Emma Beckett. It's easy to talk about the weather outside, even if it changes all the time. But it's hard to talk about the weather inside me. Sometimes it feels like people don't understand. Do you ever feel like that? I asked Auntie if she had inside weather. Oh yes, she said. And then she asked me about mine. Well, some days my mind is full of sunshine and rainbows. I feel like I can do anything. On other days, my head is full of fog and clouds. It's hard to listen to what people are saying or to remember things. I wake up sometimes feeling like it's windy and wild in my head, and then I feel tired and grumpy. And sometimes it feels like it's raining inside me. It can be a drizzle making me feel sad, or a storm making me mad. Some days, the weather inside me doesn't match the weather outside. My inside weather doesn't match how I want to feel or how I think I should feel. Auntie, do you think that's okay? Yes, she told me it's okay. And she told me that the best thing to do when we feel like our inside weather is strange is to just tell someone we love and talk about it. They've got inside weather too, she said, and they'll understand. The end.
Thank you for the story, Reverend Jennifer. Deep inside all of us, there is a place where we keep our longings and our dreams, our fears and our setbacks, our courage and our hope. It's important now and then to go to that place, and if you are willing, let it open. Let the sun, the breeze, the holy blow through. That's the aim of our prayer time together. To enter into this time today, first we'll join in our centering song, which is related to our monthly theme. For February, it's Beloved Community, and our song is Love Makes a Bridge. Then we'll sit together in a few minutes of shared silence. After that, we'll speak to one another of our joys and sorrows, and then Reverend Jennifer will lead us in a prayer. So please enter into this time however it works for you. Maybe settle down into your chair, feel your body, and breathe with me. Our centering song.
Love makes a bridge from heart to heart and hand to hand. Love guides the way when loves are blind and freedom bend. Love breaks the walls of language, gender, class, and age. Love gives us wings to slip the bars of every cage.
Every week, we share a ritual with one another. We speak the personal milestones of our lives, our joys and our sorrows, so that we can witness to one another and grow together as a beloved community. First, if you have a sorrow to share today, please type it into the chat box now, and I will read them aloud. From Gretchen Locke, concern and love for our son Duncan as he continues to struggle with anxiety and depression. Together with him, we had a major reset this week as he tries to figure out how to move his life forward. From Eric and Barbara, a candle of sorrow for Eric's Aunt Patty Lambiaso, who passed last Sunday following a very long battle with breast cancer. She was 59. Please keep her family in your prayers. From Marianne de Blasi, for my friend Jennifer, whose beloved partner died unexpectedly last weekend. From Mary Beth G. Tomorrow, March 1st, is the anniversary of my mother's death. She was only 62 when she died. She would have been 90 this year. Do we have any other sorrows to share today? From Maggie Beasley. Concern for a friend's son who is struggling with depression. That seems to be all of our sorrows today, at least those that we speak. So now let us take a moment together to hold all these sorrows, both spoken and unspoken. Let our hearts fill with compassion for all who are hurting. Let us reach out with a kind word and a helping hand. I now light one candle as a beacon of care for all those sorrows we shared today. And now I ask you for all the joys you'd like to share, type them into the chat box and I will read them aloud. From Martha Borkin, a candle of joy. My friend who has been in the hospital since Christmas went home this week. From Stacy Babb Weinberg, happy 9th birthday, Ethan. From Florence, a candle of joy for my mom's first vaccine appointment next week, and for the amazing doctors at Children's Hospital who will treat Viva's broken wing. For those who don't know, Viva broke her arm, not her wing. She's a child, not a bird. From Alex Leach, a candle of gratitude to have been part of the auction committee for the first time this year. The event was awesome. Yes, it was. From Karen Gabler, a candle of joy. My son Gabe and his partner Monica had a baby boy yesterday, all well after an emergency C-section. Congratulations, Karen. From the Wrights, candle of hope as my family appears to have gotten past their COVID infections. Yes, this is her family in St. Louis. And a friend has gotten far in the kidney donation process for John. Oh, that is good news. Wonderful. Candle of joy for the fun auction. It's lots of joys. Are there any others that we'd like to share this morning?
Did you see the one from Joyce?
I missed that one, so thank you so much, Adrian. Let me look. Oh, from Joyce Rodenheiser, a candle for all those in the healthcare field who are helping us to tame the virus. Amen, Joyce. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for sharing these joys. By doing so, you help us remember our own blessings, and you reconnect us with all that is good and with one another. We are grateful. I now light one more candle to shine out our thanks for all the blessings in our lives. I tell you, the more I use these candles, the more they don't want to be lit. We may have to get some different ones. And now, in gratitude and in togetherness, we hear a prayer from Reverend Jennifer. Reverend Jennifer, would you lead us in prayer?
I offer you this prayer, and the words are written by the poet, Ted Loder. O persistent God, deliver me from assuming your mercy is gentle. Pressure me that I may grow more human not through the lessening of my struggles, but through an expansion of them that will undam me and unbury my gifts. Deepen my hurt until I learn to share it and myself openly and my needs honestly. Sharpen my fears until I name them and release the power I have locked in them and they in me. Accentuate my confusion until I shed those grandiose expectations that divert me from the small, glad gifts of the now, of the here, of the me. Expose my shame where it shivers, crouched behind the curtain of propriety until I can laugh at last through my common frailties and failures, laugh my way all the way toward becoming whole. Deliver me from just going through the motions and wasting everything I have, which is today, a chance, a choice, my creativity, your call, oh persistent God. Let how much it all matters pry me off dead center. So if I am moved inside to tears or sighs or screams or smiles or dreams, that they will be real and I will be in touch with who I am and who you are and who my siblings are. Amen.
Amen. Now is the time for our offertory. If you are moved by our worship this morning, I invite you to donate using the yellow button at the top right corner of our homepage at melroseuu.org. For February, our giving partner, chosen by our anti-racism team, is the scholarship fund set up by the Friends of Melrose Metco. Half of our collection marked plate this month will go to support college costs for outstanding Boston-based graduates of Melrose High. Go ahead, Jennifer, you're going to introduce the offertory music.
Oh, love, I pray that you break my heart so wide open that the whole world falls in. I confess I've been trying so hard to keep it all out. These are the words from recording artist Danya River in a song called Heart is Wide Open. Let's listen.
Oh, love, I pray that you break my heart so wide open that the whole world falls in. I confess I've been trying so hard to keep it all out, keep it all out. So love, I pray that you break my heart so wide open that the whole world falls in. I give up trying so hard to keep it all out, keep it all out. So love, fill me, breathe me to pieces. Love, I pray that you break my heart so wide open open that the whole world falls in. If I'm made for love, make me strong enough. And when I need to hide, love, hold me in your grace until I feel safe. Then love, fill me, breathe me to pieces. Love, come fall into my heart, it's wide open. Doves fly out and doves come home, here to rest. In my heart is wide open, heart is wide open, my heart is wide open, heart is wide open, my heart is wide open. Fill me, breathe me to peace. Heart is wide open, my heart. Fill me, breathe me to heart is wide open. Heart is wide open, my heart is when I need to hide. Love, hold me in your grace. Heart is wide open, my heart is when I need to hide. Love, hold me in your grace. Fill me, breathe me to peace when I need to hide. Love, hold me in your grace. Heart is wide open, my heart is when I need to hide. Love, hold me in heart is wide open, heart is wide open, sweet love, I pray that you break my heart so wide open that the whole world falls in.
Now Reverend Jennifer will share with us a reading and a sermon. Reverend Jennifer.
After the sudden death of her husband, United Methodist minister Jan Richardson wrote blessings, the kind that she needed when she entered those raw complexities of grief, something that she calls the least linear thing I know. This piece is from her collection entitled Circles of Grace. Look, the world is always ending somewhere. Somewhere the sun has come crashing down. Somewhere it has gone completely dark. Somewhere it has ended with a tenderness that will break your heart. But listen, this blessing means to be anything but morose. This blessing will not fix you, will not mend you, will not give you false comfort. It will not talk to you about one door opening when another one closes. It will simply sit beside you among the shards and gently turn your face toward the direction from which the light will come, gathering itself about you as the world begins again. A long time ago, in a seminary far, far away, I spent the summer doing CPE, clinical pastoral education, at a hospital in Berkeley, California. In my cohort group, there were 5 clergy peers, 1 Presbyterian pastor, 2 Episcopal priests, 1 Jewish rabbi, and me. Our first unit was all about feelings, and I was shocked to find out how bad I was at this. One day, I had just presented a verbatim case about an encounter I had with a woman in the last stages of COPD, which is a chronic lung disease. Our supervisor, Peter, asked me, "What did you feel as you sat with a dying woman?" And every time I tried to answer his question, he shook his head and said, "That's a thought, not a feeling." And then when others in my group joined in and kept pressing and pressing me to name a feeling word, I got upset at being the focus of all this attention. And then Peter asked me, "What do you feel right now about what your peers are saying?" And I said, "I feel like people are ganging up on me." And Peter looked at me with a little smile and said, "That's not a feeling, that's a thought." I had no idea how disconnected I had become from my emotional self. I didn't realize how deeply I had buried my grief and sadness until someone else lovingly offered to hold up a mirror. Now, over the years, I've gotten much, much better at recognizing my feelings. This handy dandy chart has helped me. It's a feeling wheel. I still use this, especially when I'm journaling and I can't quite figure out what's going on, or if I want to get more specific with my emotions. And I've also gotten much better at sitting with my feelings, allowing them, recognizing them, being curious about them, and being willing to just hang out with them instead of my old habit, which was to run away, often toward a pint of ice cream. As I've been more able to allow for the painful side of that feeling wheel, I know that it has helped me to live a bigger, fuller, more vibrant life. It really is true what Khalil Gibran and so many others have said, that the deeper sorrow carves into your being, the more joy it can contain. This practice has also helped me to connect with and have better empathy for a wider variety of human beings in all the way they express their feelings. Researchers say that 36% of us don't know how we feel or can't name the emotion that we're experiencing. Now, if you find yourself in that number, you are not alone. And you can, if you want to, grow your capacities in this area. Now, for the other 64% of you who are pretty good at knowing how you feel and naming those feelings, I just ask that you would use this time to understand the people in your life who may not be as practiced. So let me pause here for a moment for a little sidebar about these two words, feelings and emotions. They're not exactly the same, but you'll notice that I'm going to use them interchangeably. Now, technically, emotions are the physical signals of the body reacting to some external stimuli. Like last night, I heard this strange sound and I felt this sensation in my body, like right about here. That's the emotion. Feeling then is the meaning that the brain attaches to those sensations. So last night, my brain said that feeling in your body is fear. Like I said, they're so closely related, I'm just going to use both words. So I'm finally getting around to watching The Crown, the Netflix series about Queen Elizabeth. In one of those episodes, it's about the Welsh coal mine disaster in 1966 that killed over 100 people, including many school children. The Queen returns home after visiting the town of Aberfan, where she watched the villagers recovering the bodies of their neighbors and their families. And back home, she reflects with the Prime Minister that she never cries. Not when her father died, not when her beloved grandmother died, not when her children were born. I have known for a very long time, she says, that there's something wrong with me. The Prime Minister tries to console her by saying that the absence of emotion is a blessing. After all, he says, no one needs hysteria from the head of state. Setting aside that sexist language here, this reminds me of something that my seminary professor advised. She told us not to cry when we were conducting funerals and memorial services. As clergy, we embody the hope of wholeness. We represent a future where grief does not devastate, but accompanies. This makes complete sense to me, and I know that this is part of keeping good boundaries. But in those first few years of ministry, I took this advice too literally. Not only did I not cry at the funerals of congregants, but even in private, I wouldn't let myself feel too much. I came to see over the years that drawing that hard line was an excuse for me to not deal with my own grief. It allowed me to hide under my stole while telling myself that my feelings didn't really matter. If I just focused on the ones that I served, that is what would make me a good minister. As my practice grew and as I grew in my ministry, I realized how misguided that idea was. And I came to see how expressing my authentic feelings and caring for my own heart actually helps the entire community to feel. Francis Weller uses this term, flatline culture, in his book, The Wild Edge of Sorrow, to describe how we have squeezed down the range of human emotion to a very narrow band of feelings. He writes, we experience little genuine joy, in part because we avoid the depths. We are an ascension culture. We love rising and we fear going down. Going down requires listening to our bodies, our hearts, our souls, our minds. But sometimes there's so much noise out there, it's easy to listen to everyone other than our deep selves. The other day I was with my stepdaughter, she's 22, And I noticed that she was wearing these wireless headphones all day and all night. And I asked her what she's listening to. She was streaming funny videos and listening to podcasts and audiobooks and music. There really is a lot of great content out there, isn't there? I mean, really good stuff. There's self-help and spiritual stuff. There's comedians and skillful storytellers. And there is a goldmine of wisdom right here. There is so much that we already know about what will heal us if we will only listen. The psychotherapist Miriam Greenspan adds to Weller's flatline culture conversation by observing that the power of emotion as a profound way of knowing and healing is barely recognized in our society. Patriarchy and white supremacy declare the importance of self-sufficiency and hyper-individuality. And these norms lead to a conquest of emotion rather than a trusting of their inherent value. Our cultural landscape is becoming more and more diverse. And we see so many different ways of being and feeling and expressing. All the while, the status quo stubbornly holds on to its suspicion of emotional wisdom. One of the more subtle messages from this flatline culture is, please do not display too much emotion in public. One of the more befuddling conflicts that we had in one of my congregations was about clapping during the service. Was it okay to express appreciation for the choir, the musician, or even the preacher with some joyful noise? Or was it too disruptive? Was it okay to stand up and start dancing in the aisles if the Spirit said dance? Are there certain emotions that are more allowed in our Unitarian Universalist communities than others? This kind of emotional policing happens in all kinds of places. The hospital where I worked, when someone died or a patient would die, and then one of the family members, one or two family members would just fall out wailing in their grief. The staff would call security first and then the chaplain. I wish they would have done that in reverse, because chaplains are trained to handle emotional crisis and know how to compassionately engage and assess real threat. But sometimes the staff saw overly emotional people as also threatening and dangerous. So are you surprised when I tell you that the majority of the time that security was called, the family was Black or Latinx? I know that Reverend Suzanne recently preached about the final report from our denomination's Commission on Institutional Change. One of their recommendations urges us to integrate emotional intelligence and other forms of knowing into our worship services and into our faith development curricula. The more that we can grow into emotional maturity, embrace the productive use of conflict, and not be afraid of powerful emotions, the more that we can grow into that vision of beloved community. Flatline culture is in the air that we breathe, right? It just gets in. It shapes us, and unless we pay attention and intentionally create a deeper life for ourselves, we can fall into a habit of shallow living. It's easy to understand why so many people numb themselves from intense feeling. I understand how hard it is to pry ourselves off dead center and choose to be uncomfortable when you really don't have to. But sometimes it's not a conscious choice. but a habit of the mind and heart that we learned in childhood. I know that some of my emotional avoidance had to do with my own personal history. And you may have also grown up in a family that didn't really express feelings. A child says they're sad about something, and the parent says, "Oh, don't be silly. There's nothing to be sad about." Or maybe there was only one person in the family that got to express all of the feelings, but nobody else was allowed to have any. In another family, the clear message was that only positive feelings are allowed in this house. Whatever the root cause, turning away from feeling impacts us on a personal, on a relational, and a universal level. On a personal level, the heart just doesn't have a filter that keeps only the bad stuff out. It is either open or it is closed. As you turn away feelings like lonely, aggravated, hurt, you also turn away awestruck, zeal, affection, blissful. Hiding away essential parts of ourselves can lead to a smaller life than is possible. The late poet Mary Oliver asks us this very pointed question. Listen, are you breathing just a little and calling it a life? On a relational level, when we can't bear to sit with our own feelings, it's really hard to sit with others who are feeling. For the last 3.5 years, I've been working as a hospital chaplain, specializing in oncology care. If I had not learned how to befriend my own emotional pain, it would have been impossible for me to stay fully present with people who are hurting. Like that 30-year-old woman who was going through chemotherapy and worried about her small children. Compassion for others is just not available to those who do not tend compassionately to themselves. And then lastly, if we ignore our personal pain, there is a cost at the universal level. Every day, the world is ending somewhere. It can be overwhelming to consider the awful pain of this broken world. And I know that there are times when you just have to turn off the news, take a break, because it is too much. But when too many of us permanently tune out, then our democracy weakens, and habitats and species die too fast, and more of us suffer from injustice and inequity. This year has stirred up a lot of emotions. And it's been tempting to pull the cover over our heads and put on the headphones and turn up the volume on TikTok. The good news is that we can all get better at welcoming the rainbow of feelings into our lives, and we can help each other. Last week, our president called on the American people to stop and acknowledge the weight of grief over losing more than 500,000 of our neighbors and friends and family to this epidemic, this pandemic. And then he counseled us, saying, we have to resist becoming numb to sorrow. We need to remind each other of how important it is to live deeply, even when it hurts. And also how important it is to learn how to reach out and find someone who is willing to sit beside us among the shards, so that eventually we can feel ourselves turning toward the direction from which the light will come and gather itself about us as the world begins again. May it be so. Amen. Our closing hymn today is number 108, My Life Flows On. Let's listen to the choir sing this beautiful classic hymn.
My life flows on in endless song above lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that is a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest rounding roars? I know the truth that liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon wild, our thoughts to them are leading. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing?
And now go forth into this day with your heart wide open. Let the world fall in and change you in ways you never dreamed. Go in peace, my friends. Go in love.